Sansa Stark or Margaery Tyrell? Who got under Cersei's skin the most? Real talk, she hated both of them, but for different reasons. For me, and this is just my opinion, I think Sansa is the one that Cersei really hated the most. Because I think she saw in Sansa what she could have been like had her life turned out differently. One of the main things about Cersei is her resentment for how her life has turned out. She feels immensely aggrieved. Sansa has a mother guiding her, whereas Cersei had hers taken from her. Sansa has a naivety and an innocence that Cersei feels she was not afforded. Sansa is betrothed to the prince, to the heir to the Iron Throne. Cersei almost had that for herself, but it was taken away. Sansa has a faith that Cersei does not. And I think Cersei is very much frustrated because she sees it as, I've suffered, I've had to adapt. Sansa just doesn't get it. It all ties back to what Cersei believes constitutes real power. She associates it with traditionally masculine traits, being ruthless, being single-minded, being willing and able to play the game. But what Cersei fails to understand is that Sansa has strengths of her own. They've just come from a different place. Cersei takes out her internalized misogyny on Sansa because Sansa does not appear to conform to what Cersei believes you have to do for a woman to survive. She sees her as weak and stupid, never once thinking that playing dumb is actually a pretty effective survival strategy. People don't see you coming. So Sansa is always going to be a problem for Cersei because she does not understand her. Now, when it comes to Margaery, Cersei hates her too, but for different reasons. Cersei knows Margaery is a player, and a successful one at that. Margaery is able to maneuver through situations by combining her feminine wiles with traditionally more masculine traits. Because Cersei knows how to play the game, she identifies that same trait in Margaery. And she is threatened by Margaery's success at going from seemingly a traitor to being Queen of the Seven Kingdoms. Cersei can relate to the skills that have got Margaery and House Tyrell to this point. It's the same thing Cersei would have done in that situation. Making and breaking alliances where necessary, disregarding old allegiances, doing whatever it takes to get to the top. So Cersei is more directly threatened by Margaery in a more classic and obvious way. She is the snake worming her way into Cersei's family and into the centre of power. But in terms of Sansa Stark, Cersei writes her off as a weakling. But subconsciously, Sansa is kind of the greater threat to Cersei in particular, because Cersei can't understand her and so she cannot anticipate what Sansa may do next. Cersei smirks and calls her a little bird, and it's so patronising and so condescending because in actual fact, Sansa is learning. She is taking all of this in and she is developing a political mindset. The irony is Cersei had a chance to make a true ally of Sansa and she didn't even realise it. And because of how she treated Sansa, she's made a lifelong enemy.